Welcome to Hksn. I hope you had a wonderful week. We have a great lesson for you. So join us as we dive into the Bible. Now, let's get on with the show.
Jesus' disciples had been hard at work. They had been healing people and teaching them. So many people came and went that the disciples didn't even have time to eat. So Jesus said to them, "Come with me. Let's go to a quiet place where we can be alone and get some rest." Jesus and his disciples got into a boat to cross the Sea of Galilee. But many people saw them leaving. The people traveled by foot and they ran ahead of Jesus. When Jesus and his disciples got to the shore, the people were already there waiting for them. Jesus saw the crowd and he cared about them because they were like sheep who needed a shepherd. So Jesus taught the people many things about God's kingdom, and he healed people who were sick. By this time, it was getting late in the day. Jesus' disciples came to him and said, "We are out in the middle of nowhere, and it's getting late. Tell the people to go away so they can go to the farms and villages to buy themselves something to eat." But Jesus said, "They don't need to go away. You give them something to eat." Jesus' disciples were confused. "We can't feed this many people," they said. It would cost a whole year's pay to buy enough bread for them to eat, Philip said. Jesus asked them, "How many loaves of bread do you have? Go, look." Jesus' disciple Andrew said, "A boy here has 5 loaves and 2 fish. But what good will that do for so many people?" Jesus told the disciples to instruct everyone to sit down. So all the people sat down in big groups on the grass. Jesus took the 5 loaves of bread and the 2 fish. He looked up to heaven, and then he blessed the bread. He broke it into pieces and gave it to the disciples. He also divided up the fish. The disciples passed out the food to all the people, and everyone ate until full. Then Jesus told the disciples to collect any leftover food. The disciples collected 12 baskets full of pieces of bread and fish. Jesus fed about 5,000 men that day, plus the women and children. So why did Jesus perform miracles? He performed miracles to glorify his Father in heaven, to show that he was the Son of God, and to care for people.
In a way, the lesson for today kind of shows what it could be like to follow Jesus. We won't always know what he has planned up next and what he has in store for us, but we know to trust and rely on him because his plans and will are perfect. When Jesus fed the 5,000, he met the physical need of all those people. But here in John 6:35, he says, "I am the bread of life," Jesus told them. "No one who comes to me will ever be hungry, and no one who believes in me will ever be thirsty again." He's not talking about a physical hunger or thirst, because here on earth we will get hungry and thirsty again. But he's talking about a spiritual hunger and thirst. If we follow him, he will quench our thirst and fill our hunger. Jesus is able to satisfy our souls with forgiveness, peace with God, and eternal life.
Welcome to Bible Trivia. This time we'll be asking questions about Jesus feeding 5,000 people. The first question for 100 points. What food did a young boy have with him? Was it A, 7 grapes, B, 2 melons and 2 fish, C, 2 fish and 5 barley loaves, or D, 5 barley loaves and a fig? The answer is C. The young boy had 2 fish and 5 barley loaves. The next question for 200 points. How many people gathered to hear Jesus teach? Was it A, 500 men plus women and children? Was it B, 5,000 men plus women and children? C, 1,000 men plus women and children? Or D, 2,000 men plus women and children? The answer is B. 5,000 men plus women and children gathered to hear Jesus teach. The next question for 1,000,000 points. What is another name for the Sea of Galilee? Is it A, Lake Tiberias, B, the Dead Sea, C, the Mediterranean Sea, or D, the waters of Merom? The answer is A. Another name for the Sea of Galilee is Lake Tiberias. The next question for a bunch of points. In which place were Jesus and his disciples when he fed the people? Was it A, on the beach, B, on a hill near Lake Galilee? C. In a forest near Lake Galilee? Or D. On a boat in the Sea of Galilee? The answer is B. Jesus and his disciples were on a hill near Lake Galilee when he fed the people. The next question for 4 points. Why did Jesus ask Philip, "Where shall we buy bread for the people to eat?" Was it A, to test him? B, he needed to buy bread to feed the people? C, he was hungry? Or D, he wanted Peter to buy bread for everyone? The answer is A. Jesus asked Philip, "Where shall we buy bread for the people to eat?" to test him. The next question for a gajillion points. What did Jesus do when he held the loaves of bread? A. He blessed it. B. He sold it. C. He ate it. Or D. He dropped it. The answer is A. Jesus blessed the loaves of bread when he held them. The next question for a few points. After the people had eaten, how many baskets of food were filled with leftovers? Was it A, 8, B, 10, C, 11, or D, 12? The answer is D. After the people had eaten, there were 12 baskets of food filled with leftovers. The next question for 500 points. Which feast was about to begin? Was it A, Passover, B, the Feast of First Fruits, C, the Feast of Trumpets, or D, the Feast of Unleavened Bread? The answer is D. The Feast of Unleavened Bread was about to begin. The next question for so many points. In which region did this event take place? Was it A, Galilee, B, Gozan, C, Israel, or D, Zebulun? The answer is A. This event took place in the region of Galilee. And the last question for double your current points. Where did Jesus go after he had fed the crowd? A. He sailed away on a boat. B. To pray on a mountain by himself. C. To meet with his 12 disciples. Or D. He continued to talk with the large crowd of people. The answer is B. After he had fed the crowd, Jesus went to pray on a mountain by himself. Thanks for playing Bible Trivia. We hope you'll play again soon.
You're everything we could ever want. You're everything we could ever need. You're the reason we're coming here. You're the reason we're gonna sing. Everything we could ever want. You're everything we could ever need. You're the reason we're coming here. You're the reason we're gonna sing. We'll shout it out loud from the could ever need. You're the reason we're coming here. You're the reason we're gonna sing. You're everything we could ever want. You're everything we could ever need. You're the reason we're coming here. You're the reason we're gonna sing. We'll shout it out loud from the rooftop. We won't be quiet. We've fallen for your heart and we can't stop. We won't deny it. No! We won't be quiet. We won't be quiet. We won't be quiet. We won't be quiet. No! We'll shout it out loud from the rooftop. We won't be quiet. We're falling for your heart and we can't stop. We won't deny it. We'll shout it out loud from the rooftop. We won't be quiet. We've fallen for your heart and we can't stop. We won't deny it. No, 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 no. No.
I hope you learned something from this lesson. Tune in next week to learn more about God's Word. See you next time.